All right, we're back online. Sorry, guys, for the interruption. My phone just died on me, so I guess I have to use my gamer PC, which is great because I just want to summarize what I've been babbling about. Okay, so let me just go to my Google. Okay, so basically, I was saying that the ebook I'm finishing up for this year, it's going to be published on January 1st, 2026. It's basically about the money game. So I'm just going to explain using this diagram what this money game is all about. And I guarantee you, once you understand the money game, it's going to be so much easier for you to make money, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, you're retired from the game, you can still make money, like even as a retiree. So there are basically 4 levels to the game, and so I'm gonna visually represent these 4 levels so that you can see it's pretty straightforward. The only problem is that in society we have never taught kids about these 4 levels, and therefore people go through life without understanding that money making is really a game. So I don't know how I came across this idea, but I think I was watching a YouTube video where the interviewer was talking to Morgan Housel. He's just going to put his information here, and somehow I was listening to him and it triggered something in me. He's the author of the Psychology of Money. I haven't read that book, but what he said in the YouTube video sounds like common sense. And I have a brother who read, who's a big fan of Morgan, and my brother became financially free. So I guess this is a good endorsement of this book. But I was listening to Morgan Housel, and I had this idea of creating a book that would teach people about the money game. So here you see the 4 levels. I'm just going to draw them and explain in a few minutes. So the first level of the game, and you really have to play each level well, because it's like in any video game, if you don't succeed at a particular level, then you cannot move on to the next level. And it's really just 4 levels. There's no more levels as far as I know. So the first level is and it says in the logo, Mastering the Money Game, it's where you have to pick up all the skills. And this is something that you almost have to obsess about. It's not about information, it's not about knowledge, it's really about skills. What is it that you can actually do for the employer? So I'm going to explain more later on what is a skill, how you can acquire new skills, how you can practice until you become an expert in that skill. And then second level is really about performance. And performance meaning that you have to be in a position where you perform using your skill and you make money. So this is where you're actually making money. The third level is the easiest level in many ways, because you don't have to do anything. Like, you just have to stop spending. I know it sounds easier said than done, but in many ways it's the easiest level because you don't have to do anything. You just have to stop yourself from spending. And the last level is where you're investing. And so you have to play the money game in that sequence. And in fact, you have no choice, because if you don't have the skills, you're not going to have a job. Okay, so performance is not possible. So I'm going to put here performance in a job, performance as a freelancer, performance as an entrepreneur, etc. And there are basically 5 ways to make money. So this is the level where you're actually making money for the first time. So I'm going to put that in green so that we know this is where you're making money. The skills, this is where you're learning and practicing and training and testing yourself. You're not in the money yet, so I'm going to put that in red, because usually when you hire a coach, or when you learn a video course or a classroom training, you're in the red in the sense that you have to spend money. But hopefully you can get into the green zone, the green level, where you're making money. Okay, saving is where What color should I put that? I'm gonna put it, let me see, what is better than green? You know what, I'm gonna put black. I might change later on, but this is where you're putting your money. You're saving your money. How do I change? Okay, here. So I don't know, maybe black refers to under your mattress. Okay, you're saving money and it's under your mattress. And finally we have investing. This is where you're growing your money. So what color should we put it? I'm gonna put blue sky because you have freedom. Okay, so you have to go through these 4 levels. If you don't have the skills, you can't perform. If you don't perform, you're not going to have money to save, and if you don't save, you can't invest. So this is the money in a nutshell. But as I was saying in the live stream, the game, this is really a game of skills acquisition. It's really a game. You got to really go into it and almost like become a serial skiller. I was a serial skiller, not killer, okay? Serial skiller in the 1990s. I would learn one software program after another, and I was really, really, really in demand with Fortune 500 companies because I was a really fast learner, implemented. I was really focused on excellence. So this is what you got to do, and believe me, the colleges and the universities are doing a very bad job. The teachers are doing a very bad job. It's not their fault. They're doing their best, but they're not really helping students to acquire skills that can be monetized. And this is not a judgment of teachers. It's the whole system. The school system is not about helping students to get skills. It's about stressing them, torturing them into performing well in a test. And guess what? A few weeks later, they forget everything that they've learned in the test, even if they get an A. So really, the school system is not very well designed. I mean, I'm not the only one saying that. Elon Musk is saying that. Bill Gates is saying that. Bill Gates, at one point, he said that it's not about reforming the school system. Forget the school system. It's about creating a new one. Elon Musk is also creating his own special schools, focus on projects and, doing what you really love to do. So if you're a parent, you want to rethink all of this, because trust me, I was a college professor. I taught at university also, and I'm telling you that the school system is not really preparing your kids for the world of tomorrow, for the economy. High school, maybe. High school, that's the basics, right? Math, geography, linguistics, that's the basics. But beyond high school, you got to have your own strategy for acquiring skills, because if you don't, you're not going to make money. You're not going to be in the green here. Okay, and so in my book, I talk about a bunch of systems and frameworks that you can use to acquire skills really quickly. And I mean, like, you become a serial skiller. You acquire one skill after another. And then in the green zone here, I'm going to show you how you can use 5 ways to make money. Most people, even highly educated and smart people, they just know of 1 or 2 ways to make money, but there's actually 5 ways to make money. And just to give you an idea, I'm just going to make a copy and expand a little bit on what I mean by the 5 ways to make money, because I think that people, no matter how they make money right now, they think that that's the only way to make money. And I made that mistake too. But actually, there are 5 ways to make money. Just quickly, the first way is obvious: services. You can be a minimum wage worker at a McDonald's. That's a service. You can be an accountant. That's a service. It's all the same category. The second level, or the second way to make money, is teaching. The third is selling, and that include affiliate marketing. The fourth is consulting. So consulting basically means you're solving problems for clients or companies. And the last one is probably the most challenging, but with AI it becomes easier than ever, and it's about creation. So you can create, for example, ebooks, you can create video courses, you can create even web applications if you're using platforms like Base 44. Base 44 is really amazing, but now we have Gemini 3.0, and it also allows you to create and I think also host your web application. So creation used to be hard. But with AI, it's much more accessible. You still have to think strategically. You still have to figure out like exactly what book should I create, what kind of video course, because AIs like Base 44 and Gemini 3.0 or ChatGPT or Claude, they can do the execution, but they cannot really, they cannot come up with a product idea. So you're going to be like the director, and the AI is going to be like the worker. So anyways, creation is just one of the 5 ways. But my point here is that most people focus on service, and they think that offering a service is the only way to make a living. So I would say that for 99.9% of people in the world, they're making only 20% of their potential income. 20% because services is just 1 out of 5, right? They could be teaching. I know a lot of people who could be teaching, but they're not teaching, unfortunately, because maybe they have certain definitions of teaching, maybe because they don't have good memories about their school days. Whatever the reason is, they're not teaching, and therefore they're leaving a lot of money on the table. They're not selling. Like even affiliate marketing, it's not really selling. You're just promoting a sales page. They're not doing that. So again, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Consulting, I understand why they don't go into consulting, because it tends to be a very intensive activity, right? You have to really use your brain to solve a problem for the client. And typically it's a problem that the client could be a business client or a consumer. It's a problem that they were not able to solve themselves. And therefore, when they go to you with their problem, you can expect a headache in the sense that it's quite challenging. So consulting is not for everyone, but it's typically for people who have a lot of experience, who know a lot of stuff, unless you define consulting in a very narrow way. Like you could be a consultant for people who are writing and designing a sales page, right? So you can be a sales page consultant. But usually consulting, it's about solving problems. And finally, like I said, we have creation. So these are, 4 ways that 4 ways to make money that most people do not think about, but you could be making money, in one of these 5 ways. And these are 5 categories, right? So under teaching here, we can put tutoring, right? You can tutor kids, you can tutor adults. We can put coaching, we can put advising. There's a bunch of subcategories within the teaching category. Same thing with selling. There's affiliate marketing. You can also be, let's say, a presenter. You present materials by a product creator, and you present over Zoom. So you're presenting or doing a demonstration of the product. You're not really selling, but in a way you're selling, because you're explaining how the product works, right? So at the end of the Zoom session, if people buy something from you, a product, for example, or if they book you or your employer for a consulting or coaching session, then you've been selling. So you're not just presenting, you're selling. And also you could be teaching a free webinar, but really at the end of the free webinar, you're selling something. So when I say selling, I don't mean like the typical salesperson who's, going door to door and carries a suitcase. And, that's the old idea of selling. Today, there are so many ways to sell. You can even sell if you have a TikTok account. I'm a little bit embarrassed that I'm just learning how to use TikTok. So I probably have to hire some young person to teach me how to use TikTok. But yeah, TikTok, you have Instagram, you have like WhatsApp. I don't even know WhatsApp is, and Telegram, like so many channels through which you can sell. So again, it's not selling in the typical way, before. You can also sell the typical way, you show up at the client's office and you do your sales pitch and you close the deal. But there are so many different ways to sell, and some of those ways are listed here. And consulting, well, forget about it. Consulting is really hard, so don't think too much about it. But creation, you can create tons of, I have a list of, maybe I'm going to publish it, but I have a list of 100 information products that you can create. Okay, so ebooks, video course, web apps, that's just the beginning. You have, you have a newsletter. You can actually charge people for a newsletter. In fact, newsletter publishing is one of the top 10 millionaire occupations, and for reason, it costs almost nothing to publish a newsletter. and you could charge people like I don't know, $500 per year, or you can charge them per month. It's up to you. If you're interested, Samuel Buria, he's one of the top intellectuals in the business world. So he publishes a newsletter. You can find him online to learn more about this business model. You can. Oh yeah, on YouTube now. YouTube allows YouTubers to charge members a certain fee per month to have access to premium content. So YouTube is a good channel. But typically, like I think on YouTube, you charge $5 a month, but with the volume, it makes sense. And then you have Patreon, which is a membership site. You have Gumroad. There's so many. All these are digital products or digital content that you're creating online. So it's all about creation. And if you're a young person, meaning under 30, or if you're a parent who has kids who are teenagers, you want to encourage them to develop their creativity, because this is, in my opinion, this is the best way to make money, because you're expressing yourself, you're using your creativity, your right brain, and it's easy to make money, because you just have to create one ebook, and after that you can have an infinite number of readers. You can create just one video course, and you can have an infinite number of students. Okay, it's all digital. And so, I think that with more AI tools emerging, I think that people will slowly shift from, let me just put it here, from being a worker to being a creator. And this is one of the necessary transformation that people almost have no choice, because if you're a worker, especially if you work behind a computer, then chances are an AI is going to do your job. If you're currently doing your job, through a computer. If you're a nurse, if you're a physiotherapist, if you're a sports coach, if you're a doctor, a dentist, a hairstylist, you still have a couple of years, until the Optimus robots replace you. But if you work behind a computer, chances are your job is gone. Like you have to forget about your profession is gone. Like you have to prepare right now for the transition. It's probably going to happen in the summer of 2026 or by the end of 2026. UBI is going to kick in, but it's not enough. $12,000, $15,000 a year, it's not enough. You have to become a creator. So that's one of the transition that I see. People have to move from being a worker. Jeez, how come it doesn't work? From being a worker to being a creator. And this is a challenge, not because it is a challenge in itself, but it's because when we went through the school system, it's heavily overemphasizing the left brain, right? So in high schools, college, and university, we're developing our left brain, and that means mathematics, language, geography, analysis, and we're not developing our right brain. Imagination, creativity, spatial intelligence. And that's why, you look at the population, well, look at your Facebook friends and your people in your family. I would bet that 19 people out of 20, they're left brain oriented, and it's not necessarily their natural inclination. It's just that the school system has not really developed your right brain. But today, more and more with AI, hopefully, people can express themselves more. They can use their creativity, imagination to innovate and create new products and services. So creation is definitely it's going to be like a major money maker. So anyways, those are 5 ways to make money. And so that's the second level. Once you've making enough money, then you can save money, which you don't have to do anything. Just don't go out, or if you go out, on a shopping spree, just leave your credit card at home. That's my trick. No, I'm just kidding. But just don't spend on stuff you don't need, so that you can save money, and then you can learn to invest your money. Investing is quite an interesting game, and I know that psychologically a lot of people would say, well, I don't have a lot of money, so what's the point of learning how to invest in the NASDAQ or Bitcoin? It sounds too complicated. It sounds like Chinese to me. Even Chinese people say that. So, but that's my point. Like if you're not performing in your job or as a freelancer, you're not making a lot of money. And if you're not making a lot of money, you're not saving a lot of money. You just pay the rent and food, and you don't have money to save. And therefore, it's like a vicious cycle, right? So you're not performing well, you're not saving money, so you don't bother to learn about investing. So that's why you have to really start at the base here. Skills, you have to become a serial skiller. I cannot stress enough how important to become a serial skiller. Most people have a certain skill set. They could be a software engineer, they could be an architect, a graphic designer, they could be a hairstylist, and whatever skill they have, they think that it's enough, so they stop. But instead, they should pick up new skills all the time, like learn new skills all the time. Join a Facebook group, get in touch with people, swap your skills with the other person, and you learn from the other person. So there's no exchange of cash, but there's an exchange of real knowledge, real skills. So it has to become something serial. Don't rely on your current skill set. It's going to become obsolete soon. So the key word here is serial skiller. And as you develop, this reflex of always focusing on real skills, then you're going to be more appealing to employers and clients. You will actually be able to produce results for them in business or in their relationship. Like if you're a coach, in their career, you can actually help people. So really the purpose of skills acquisition here is so that you can help companies, you can help people. And if you can help them and solve their problems, then you're going to make money, and you're going to save that money so that you have money to invest. But this is really the essence of the money game. So when Morgan Housel talks about the psychology of money, of course I respect all the authors out there, especially those who are successful like him, but it occurred to me, like, whatever he's saying, like saving your money and not overspend because you want to keep up with the Joneses, you want to keep up with your friends, you want to designer clothes, and you want to maintain a certain social image. Everything that he's talking about, I've read about like 30 years ago. So it shocked me that he's still teaching about the psychology of money, which I learned like 20 years ago. So it's not that I'm smart and people are stupid. It's not that. It's just that there's certain things about money that people don't understand, and therefore we are still in 2025. We are still stuck at the psychology of money. So I thought to myself, no, this is way obsolete. Like, people need something more advanced than the psychology of money, because it's not just psychology. It's a whole skill set. It's a whole game that people have to learn. They have to change a whole mindset. It's not just psychology, it's behavior. Now, to be fair, this is just a book title. To be fair, Morgan does mention in the YouTube interview that the behavior is more important than anything else. Behavior is the most important thing. You can know everything about finance, you can give a lecture on finance, but what is important is your behavior every day, your spending, cash in, cash out. So behavior. But even the word behavior, number one, it's not very exciting. And number two, it's not something that is operational. Like, when I tell you behavior, what comes to your mind? Okay, it's what you do, right? But that's it. It's not something that you can actually play. It's not a game. It's not exciting. And that's why I decided, you know what? I'm going to work hard. In November and December, I'm going to create this game, capture it in a book, and allow people to play the game. Because, psychology of money, nah, not interested. But if I create a book, and I'm not saying it's going to be a bestseller at all. I'm just trying to help people here. But if I create a group and a book, and I call it Mastering the Money Game, then we can talk about playing a game. Like Monopoly, playing a game. People get excited. It's about money, of course. It's very exciting, and it's about mastering the money game. The book is not called playing. It's not called playing the money game. Okay, it's mastering. Meaning that at each level, you got to become a master. You got to become very, very good at skills acquisition. which, by the way, is the true definition of intelligence according to Francois Chollet. So somebody like Elon Musk is intelligent. Everybody else is not intelligent. Why? Because Elon Musk is able to go into a completely new industry. Could be electric vehicles, it could be aerospace, it could be Neuralink, and he learns all the skills so that he can succeed and become the CEO. So I like that definition by Francois Chollet of intelligence. It's about skills acquisition. It's about the efficiency with which you acquire a new skill. So just to give you an example, if you want to test how intelligent you are, and it is just one definition of intelligence, but I think it's the most powerful definition. If you want to measure, let's say, your intelligence compared to a friend, a thought experiment would be the following. It doesn't exist, but let's say there's a grammar for the Klingon language. Okay, so let's say there's a Klingon grammar book. Okay, so you and your friend, you have 1 hour to study that book that talks about Klingon, and after 1 hour, you test yourself and you test your friend. And the person who has the highest score, that is the more intelligent person. And so intelligence here means the speed and the acquisition, the efficiency with which you're acquiring a new skill. And that's what this red rectangle is all about. So it's not just about acquiring skill because you're sitting in a classroom and you listen to the boring teacher going through the PowerPoint slides and you get tested and you get an A. That means nothing. You get an A, great, but when you go into the marketplace, there's no employer who's going to tell you, can you produce more A's for me? No, I have never had an employer who's given me a test, let alone a multiple choice test. Okay, so the school system is really, really badly designed. And so you have to create your own system, your own methodology for acquiring skills. And then you have to create your own system for marketing yourself in order to get the work and then doing the work. So performance here has two levels, and that's what I talk about in the book too. The first level is that you got to sell yourself, because you can be the best professional, but if you're not able to sell yourself and you can't get the contract, well, too bad. It doesn't matter how good you are. Somebody who might be less talented than you are, but he's a better salesman, well, he's going to get better and he's going to make a lot of money, while you who are more talented, you're not going to make money and you're not going to get better because you didn't get the contract. So performance here means sales performance and professional performance. I'm just going to put it here, sales performance first and then professional performance. And I can't tell you how many people who are excellent as professionals. I know them, they're my friends. They're excellent as professional, but they're not very good at selling themselves, which is a problem. But sometimes you can solve that problem. Like if you're a very talented artist, Celine Dion, for example, or most actors in Hollywood, if you're very talented, you don't have to sell yourself, you get an agent. But until you get to that point of excellence, you got to sell yourself, right? You can't afford to have an agent. So performance has two levels, sales performance and professional performance. And to the extent that you master the skills acquisition game and the performance game here, then the next level is more like R&R. It's like you're relaxing. Oh, I worked so hard. Peter killed me in the skill zone and he killed me in the green zone. Now I get to relax. So after you relax, you save your money, and then you can start to learn again how to place your money. So in conclusion, I'm just going to summarize these four games in a way that is hopefully memorable for you, that helps you to focus. So the first level is target the skills. In other words, only watch YouTube videos and only talk to people who can actually teach you a new skill. So again, it's not about information or knowledge. That is important, but ultimately you want to acquire new skills every week. So target the skill. Target the money. In other words, you want to acquire skills that will help you to make money. If it doesn't help you to make money, forget about it. It's just academic. You don't need it. If you need knowledge in the future, just go to Wikipedia. Okay, don't register for a course that is academic, theoretical. You want teachers, you want courses, you want colleges that teach you how to make money by teaching you the skills that make money. The second level is make the money. So it's not enough to target the money. You have to make the money. You have to go out there and get the money. The third level is keep the money. And the last level is grow the money. So the reason why, and it sounds like I'm obsessed about money, but the reason why I keep repeating money is that this is a money game. So as long as whatever you're doing, it's related to the money in one of these four phases, you target the money. In other words, you only learn skills that will help you to make more money, and then you go out there and you actually make the money, and you keep the money. Don't give it to anybody else. Well, except your kids maybe, and then grow the money. That's what you're investing. So it's all about the money. And a lot of time I talk to people, tends to be more women, and this is not a judgment against women, but the women would say something like, oh, for me, abundance, wealth, is my family, my friends, it's the sunshine, it's everything. No, you got to stop that, okay? When we talk about money, it's money. Money as defined by the GAP, generally accepted, generally accepted accounting principle, something like that. So when we talk about money, we're talking about dollar bills, we're talking about bank account, we're talking about real stuff, okay? Like, don't confuse money with spirituality, with your family and friends. We all have family, we all have friends, we all have hobbies, but that doesn't matter. When it comes to money, you got to focus on the money. That's why, like, I create this live stream where I invite people to get serious about money. A lot of people have negative views of money. Oh, money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it does. It does in the areas where it makes a difference, but there are other areas like friendship, family, it's not going to be able to buy, the love of your friends and family, right? Health cannot really buy health. It can repair your health if you do damage your health, but money is super important. Like, I think the reason why people don't think about money the way that I do since for the last 30 years is that they don't really take money seriously. Like, I think most people, I'm not sure, but let me know what you think, but I think most people, they think of money, oh yeah, money is that paycheck I get every 2 weeks. I just have to get a job and money is going to come naturally. No, you have to be more deliberate, more conscious about, targeting the money, making the money, keeping the money, and growing the money. That's the only way you're going to be very successful in life. And, it's not, when you focus on these four levels, it's not going to take away anything from you. If anything, it's going to help you to grow more as a person. So you have to really begin to, if you have to begin to change your mindset, your beliefs about money, because trust me, in our society, we are controlled by the elite. In government, in the educational system, in the media, it's all the elite brainwashing us and telling us that, we need a job and, we just gotta work like for 40 years and then, you retire. But come on, that's stupid. Like 25 years ago, I quit the corporate job system. I find it stupid. I can make more money on my own. And so for the last 25 years, at least, actually maybe 35 years, but for the last 25 years, I've been financially free because I've been playing this game of four levels. At the beginning, like I said, in the 1990s, I was a serial skiller. I didn't focus on anything, not even girlfriends. I just acquired the skills. And then, I began to perform with 5 headhunting firms. I always get job interviews, job offers. I saved money, I invested, and now I'm financially free. So I can teach all of that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to teach you the way that Warren Buffett would teach you. I'm not at that level at all. But I'm financially free. So I've succeeded, at a moderate level, at these 4 games. And I'm ready to teach people. And my ebook is going to be so affordable that everyone on the planet can afford it. I'm going to translate this ebook into multiple languages. If you can help with that, I'll reward you in proportion. But there are so many ways for people to get involved with my book and make money. And this is something I want to release before the end of the year because I feel that, I don't know, it seems like in 2026 when AI arrives at your workplace, it's going to be too late for you to do anything. And so now is the right time, to develop and understand this, this money game. It doesn't matter how AI develops. This is the game that's going to be important to learn and master for the next 50 years. Now, who knows? Maybe one day we're going to have AGI, like Sam Altman used to promise, but he's not talking about it anymore. I don't know, maybe in 2030 we're going to have AGI and we're going to live in a world of abundance, and we're talking about Star Trek, everyone gets everything for free, UBI is here. But I very much doubt it. I think that for the next 5 years at least, it's going to be very hectic. And so, if you want to make money with AI, which is what this group is all about, if you want to make money with AI, you first have to understand the game that money is. And these are the 4 levels of the game. It's so simple that I think like even teenagers, no offense, but even teenagers can understand this. Of course, teenagers have a problem here. They might not be able to save money because they have to buy designer clothes and dating and all of that. But anyways, so I'm going to conclude. I hope that, this visual helps you to understand that you got to go up. This is the hierarchy. This is the goal. This is the game, so to speak. So I'm going to create many different games to help people to understand, because I'm a big fan of games, board games or video games. I think that that's where people learn the most, because as a teacher, I understand that learner motivation is absolutely not the number one factor determining whether people learn or not. So when I see books like Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money, I think that his knowledge and experience and wisdom, like he even admits the mistakes that he's made, it's very good. But I don't think that that's how people learn. People learn when it's exciting to learn, when it's a game, when it's a video game, and they become addicted, but it's a good kind of addiction. They keep playing the game. So that's what I want ultimately this book to become. I want it to become a video game, which is not going to be hard for me to create with AI today, right? But I have to lay down the foundation, the theoretical foundation for this ebook. And the premise is that money is a game. It's a game, and if you learn how to play that game and you get better and better, then you're going to earn more money, and eventually you're going to have financial freedom. You're going to be able to spend your days. This is hard for people to imagine, but when you play this game and you get to the 4th level here, you're going to have freedom in life. Like imagine, like I have financial freedom since I was 31, but imagine if you could quit your job, sayonara boss, I'm not coming back anymore next Monday, best of luck to you, but I'm going my own way. When you have that freedom, you cannot imagine what it's like. It's like you own your life, and ideally I would love it if my nieces and nephews who are under 30, if they could achieve financial freedom before they're 30. That is my goal for them as their uncle. But it's really up to them. If you want freedom, you will learn how to play the money game. If you don't want freedom and you want to work hard to enrich somebody else and you want to work for 40 years, that's fine. I have no judgment. That's people's choice. But what I'm saying, and my purpose in coming out with this ebook, and I spent a lot of time thinking about it and researching and writing it in a way that is easy to understand. My purpose is really to help the people who want to become financially free and even financially abundant. Okay, you want to become rich, you want to afford all the things that you want and that you deserve. Well, it takes money, unless of course you inherit a lot of money from your uncle, from your parents, or you marry a rich husband or a rich wife, but cannot really count on that. If you can do that, great, more power to you. But I've tried to find a rich wife for the last 30 years. It doesn't work, very hard. Anyways, that's the what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we're gonna do more live stream like this. I love this visual format where I can actually see what I'm talking about, so it helps me to teach as well. So anyways, don't forget to if you can do me a favor, don't forget to invite your friends and family to join this group. It's totally free. I've been doing it for more than 2 years, and the purpose of this group is really to help people to make money with AI. All right, thank you, and I'll talk to you more